Yeah, no, 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 no. Yeah, no, 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 no. Yeah, no, 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 no. Yeah, no, 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 no. Yeah, no, 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 no. Melanated minds with the crown restored. Asiatic truth that we cannot ignore. Honor to noble Drew Ali, we rise. Nationality reclaimed, open your eyes. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, the spark. No more strangers walking in the dark. Research first, let the facts ignite. Real Moorish talk every week, truth over hype. This is knowledge, this is heritage, this is consciousness. Welcome to Real Moorish Talk with your hostess, Prime Minister Durriyyah Bey. Hey. Yeah, no, 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 no. Yeah, no, 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 no. Shadow hour. 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 You are now tuned into Real Moorish Talk. Melanated glow, crown back on the throne. Asiatic spirit, yes, we finally home. Honor noble Drew Ali, we proclaim. Nationality restored, we reclaim the name. Yeah, yeah. Love, truth, peace, let it spark that fire.
Freedom, justice,
Lifting hearts higher.
no more strangers.
We know our part.
Real Moorish talk,
Truth from the heart.
real Moorish talk,
Truth from the heart.
real Moorish talk.
That's right. Shadow hour. Shadow hour. Shadow hour. That's it. Rise up. Rise up. Rise up. That's it. Rise up.
This is heritage,
That's it. Rise up.
this is consciousness,
That's it. Rise up.
that's your heritage.
That's it. Rise up.
Never haven't been.
That's it. Rise up. This is heritage. This is consciousness with your hostess, Prime Minister Durriyyah Bey. Yeah, no, 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 no. Yeah, no, 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 no. Yeah, no, 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 no. Yeah, no, 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 no. Melanated minds with the crown restored. Asiatic truth that we cannot ignore. Honor to noble Drew Ali, we rise. Nationality reclaimed, open your eyes. Hey, hey. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, the spark. No more strangers walking in the dark. Research first, let the facts ignite. Real Moorish talk every week, truth over hype. This is knowledge, this is heritage, this is consciousness. Welcome to Real Moorish Talk with your hostess, Prime Minister Durriyyah Bey. Hey. Yeah, no, 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 no. Yeah, no, 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 no. Shadow hour. Yeah, no, 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 no. Shadow hour. Yeah, no, 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 no. Shadow hour. Yeah, no, 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 no. Shadow hour.
All right. All right. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to Real Moorish Talk. I am your hostess today, Prime Minister National Grand Durriyyah Bey. And we have a very, very special program today. So I'm really excited about what we're going to be doing today. But first, I want to welcome you to Real Moorish Talk. I also first always want to rise. And I do this because I'm not standing because I'm sitting. So I'm going to rise the ethers. I'm going to rise and give praises to Allah, because that's who my God is that I serve, Allah, for allowing me to wake up this rising in my right frame of mind with my good common sense, life, health, and consciousness, with the ability to stay on this road, the Islamic road, because sometimes it's rough and sometimes it's smooth. So I want to thank and praise Allah for allowing me to do that. Not only the Islamic road. So I want to be clear, the straight road, the road to freedom, the road to truth, because we're living in a world now where they talk about the misinformation age, but they just say another new word for lies, right? So the lies that are constantly being told to us, and they call it misinformation. So I just want to rise and give praises to Allah that I can discern the truth from falsehood. So welcome to Real Moorish Talk. If this is your first time joining us, I am introducing myself again. I'm Prime Minister National Grand Durriyyah Bey. I am the director and founder for online schooling for Moorish children. For more than a decade, our school has provided year-round education for students from elementary through high school, with courses in legacy, history, financial literacy, language arts, mathematics, science of all kinds, that's biology and chemistry, health, foreign language, career readiness, and cultural studies. We also provide homeschooling support with parent resources and nationality, and focus on education, nationality, and birthrights, because we all know that so many people are saying that now, since I started a while ago, that nationality is worth the order of the day, every day, all day long. All right. So if you are looking for an educational environment that emphasizes scholarship, discipline, critical thinking, and character development, we invite you to learn more about online schooling for Moorish children. For more information about online schooling for Moorish children, there is an information link inside of the actual, when you come to YouTube, you can click that link in there. It'll take you right to our website and you can take a look at it. We are developing a new website, but the website we do have up currently right now is the website that you can look into. All right, so tonight we have two of our guests on tonight. We have our Mufti Shamsuddin, who's going to join us a little bit later, because his responsibilities today is not only to run the studio, but he's going to join us today on Real Moorish Talk. So I'm so excited that my son Shamsuddin will be joining us tonight. I am really excited about that. Also, our Sheikh of our Moorish nation, which is Sheikh Bilal Amin Bey, one of our sheikhs will be joining us too. So I'll bring him on in just a little bit. And it's a candlelight visual for the Prophet Noble Ali, and we're celebrating 25 episodes. 25 episodes. We are episode 25. So I wanted us to not only celebrate that, but what a glorious thing to be able to celebrate the reason that we're here. is our prophet Noble Drawley, but we're celebrating. We're talking about his death. My son said, "Is that a celebration, Mother?" That's a memorial service. So we're normally I would do it on the day of the 20th. I believe the 20th is on a weekend this weekend, and I'll be out of town. So I wanted to do it today and share with my Real Morse Talk family. So if you all have candles, I would like for you all to get a candle. And when we go ahead to light the candle, that you'll be able to light your candle in honor of our prophet Noble Drawley. Okay. All right. All right. So I wanted you to join me today for a special episode of Real Morris Talk. And I'm going to bring on Sheikh Bilal Amin Bey at this time to the stage. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Bilal. You look
Walaikum assalam, Prime Minister.
hey, you look really good. I love Mose looking like Mose. Islam Mose.
Islam.
Yes.
Islam.
So thank you for joining us tonight on Real Morris Talk for this, memorial service for our holy and divine prophet, Noble Drawley. So thank you so much for joining us today. All right, on Real Morris Talk. It's really important to realize that we're at, our mark of 97 years of the prophet's passing.
Islam.
Right, 97 years ago. But the information that he left us with is so relevant today, that he left us with. And so I'm so grateful to have you joining us tonight. This year marks 97. So the prophet Noble Drawley was born, from what we know, in the state of North Carolina in 1886. We know he traveled north because he had a message that he wanted to spread. And we know that he came in this territory in 1907. But we know he didn't set up the movement until 1912 and actually literally started talking about it in 1913. And we know there's a brother that we saw on TV recently he was on a show, he was on Dr. Carr's Black Table. And we saw that he even acknowledged Prophet Noble Drawley, and he even had one of the locations that the prophet started teaching at long before he got the temple. And so I was just really excited that he had that information. And so we know our prophet is being talked about. Our prophet is, being recognized, even though a lot of people try to put him in the back. We know that the prophet is being recognized right in the front. And so we're just so excited to be a part of his life. So, we know that it's going to be on the 20th. And if I'm not mistaken, that would be on Sunday. You see, today is the 16th, which is Thursday, Friday, 18th. Friday, Saturday, 19th. Oh, so on Saturday, the 20th, we know that'll mark 97 years of his passing. And so, we know that his teachings have inspired generations of people, right, to seek knowledge, right, understanding, comprehension, nationality, birthrights, self-determination, and historical understanding. We know, so we're going to commemorate that today. And I'm so glad you're here to join us and with us. And so we're going to talk about some of the things that he was on this earthly plane for a very short time. And we do see that a lot of our leaders don't make it out of the 40s. Like the prophet did. They usually pass, in their 40s. They don't even make it to a half a century, which is 50. We know Prophet Noble Drawley left in his 40s. El Malik El Shabazz left in his 40s. We know the reincarnated prophet left in his 40s. So a lot of the ones that we know are actually divinely prepared, don't leave here later. They leave here much earlier, which is in their 40s. And so I am just so grateful, to be here, and so grateful to be able to share in this with you today, Sheikh Bilal.
So, Prime Minister.
Yes, it's just really great to have you. So we're going to yield the floor to you, to go ahead and give your honors and talk about what you would like to talk about, the prophet, and then you're going to do some reading for us. So we're really excited to have you do that for us today also as well, Sheikh. So if anyone, we wanted to invite you in the chat too, if you want us to read out, because we were going to do a verbal communication with the people, but our security and producers was like, because we are getting so much spam, we need to make sure that we're doing this, where we can read the comments and we can put them up on the screen versus having them call in and disturbing our memorial service for our prophet. because we would need to have someone actually screening all the calls.
Islam.
So we're really excited to have everyone that's on today. So if you'd like to say something that we can read out to you about the prophet, if you would type it in the chat, we will pull it up on the screen. We're not going to accept any negativity. So if you're looking for your negative to put on our screen, we're not going to do that. This is a day of celebration for us that are Moors, that know that we are Moors, and we want to celebrate our holy and divine prophet. All right, at this time, I'm going to yield the floor to you, Sheikh Bilal. You are on the mic, Sheikh.
Islam Prime Minister.
It's
First, let me rise and give praise to the great God, Allah. Let me give honor to the Prophet Noble Ali, the founder of the Moorish Temple of America.
Oh, I apologize. I apologize, Sheik. I think it kicked you off for just 1 minute. If you want to start over, I do apologize.
First, let me rise, giving praise to the great God, Allah. Let me give honor to his manifested thought, who manifested on the square January 8th, 1886, in the state of North Carolina, our founder, our author. And when I was researching who the prophet was, I was researching the word founder. Founder is synonymous with creator, right? And I give honor to the prophet, because if it wasn't for the prophet, we wouldn't know that we was conscious of who we are. I give honor to those who follow in the prophet's footsteps, knowingly or unknowingly. I give honor to the Prime Minister, National Grand Sheikh, Durriyyah Bey, for guiding me and putting me on the correct course. I give honor to the Grand Sheikh, National Grand Sheikh in the Moorish Temple of America, reincarnated, Taj Tariq Bey. I give honor to all our ministers. I give honor to the muftis, because they secure us. I give honor to all sheikesses here, there, and everywhere. I give honor to the prophet on this day, because when we honor our leaders, when we honor our prophets, we give honor to the creator, Islam. As always, Prime Minister, you always elevate to the thought and catch the time and manifest something on time. Again, the first time I became conscious of nationality, I think, was in 1980, because I was born into Islam, under the Nation of Islam. I went through their schools, from age 3 all the way up to 9. So as I was conversating with a brother about, our people, I said that we was Asiatic black man, and the brother corrected me, he was a Moor. And he said, nah, we not black. We're Moors. So that's started my journey into the Moorish Temple of America. So it's very important that I explain this, because the brother took me into his house. And when the brother took me into his house, as we was leading up to the stairs, he had a life-size picture of Prophet Noble Ali. And I asked him, I said, who is that? He said, Mo, that's our prophet. That's Prophet Noble Ali. And I said to myself, I say, wow, we got a prophet. And that's where the light came on for me from that time on. And like I say, all the times learning about the Moorish, who we were, was, mind blowing. Everything is still new for me. I'm glad that the Prime Minister guided me, elevated me, put me on the correct course, you know, and I witness the works that she do in uplifting fallen humanity, you know. And one of the things that the prophet used in the divine constitution and bylaws is the word act. And act meaning action. The prophet said that if you have race pride and you love your race, join the Moorish Scientific of America so that you can have power to uplift humanity. So I joined. I think that one of the main things that we must do is organize. That's the only thing. We have Moors, all kinds of Moors everywhere. We have to organize, and I think that's necessary that we organize, because these are trying times and things are happening, things are taking place right now, that necessitate us, being unified and being able to challenge which comes on board, comes up against us. I yield the floor, Prime Minister.
Shukran. So at this time, Sheikh Bilal, if you would lead, so I do have the Moorish American prayer. So if we will all rise, and we're going to have we're going to have the Al-Fatiha done. I think Shamsuddin, he's going to do it in the English translation of the Al-Fatiha. And then we're going to have you do the Moorish American prayer. I'll do the ancient prayer. So we're going to bring Shamsuddin on in just a few moments to start us out with the Fatiha. All right. And then, because I'm excited about us doing the candles. So listen, Morris, if you do have the candles to light, after we do the Moorish ancient prayer, right before the reading of the Circle 7 Quran chapter 4, we're going to light our candles at that time. And we're going to leave the candles lit all the way until we finish the Quran. And that will be, so we're going to keep it lit that's until we finish reading the Quran. So as we read the Quran, then we will signal you to put the candles out. So when Sheikh Bilal finishes the voice of the prophet, then we'll, I'm going to do a special dedication. I've already poem about Prophet Noble Jolly, just a short one, and then we'll proceed from there. Okay. So at this time, we're going to bring our Mufti Shamsuddin. He's getting ready to come on, and he's going to do the Fatiha. And so what he's going to do that Fatiha, I'm going to do the Arabic version of it. I think I pretty much know it, remember it pretty well. I usually do it during Ramadan, but he was saying, "Oh, Prime Minister, you don't want to mess up on camera." So, but this is where all my thoughts or feelings, can see in individuals that I am human. But I do, I do the Fatiha every, during Ramadan. I do it all the time. And so, but he wants to just be particularly careful with that. And so, let's go ahead and see. I printed it out for myself, so just so I don't skip any steps about the Al-Fatiha with the Al-Fatiha. But we wanted to do the meditation and everything with it. So we're going to ask everyone, while we're waiting for Shamsuddin to come to do the Al-Fatiha, we're going to ask everyone to close their eyes with us, and we are going to do a meditation before them, because we want to raise the ethers. And so if you would, I'm going to ask everyone to please put your feet flat on the floor. You should have no shoes on your feet. They should be flat on the floor, like you're touching the vibration of Mother Earth. And I'm going to ask you to put your palms up like this, where you're raising the ethers with your palms up. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes for me, and we're going to do a quick meditation before when we do our Al-Fatiha. So if you would close your eyes with me, I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath in. When you take a deep breath in, I'm going to count to 7 in your head and then blow out. And then a deep breath in, we'll do it 3 times. If everyone's ready, let's start our meditation. Deep breath in and hold it through your nose. Deep breath out. Very good. We're going to do it one more time. Deep breath. We'll do it 2 more times, but deep breath in through your nose. Blow it out through your mouth 3rd time. Deep breath in through your nose. Out through your mouth. Thank you for that. And so we should meditate every single day. We should meditate at least 2 to 3 times a day. It helps your circulatory system and also mental focus. So we want to make sure that we do that. All right. At this time, let's see. Do we see Shamsuddin? I see, but I don't think his camera's on yet. Shamsuddin. All right. I'm waiting for his camera to come on. Shamsuddin, we don't see you on camera. We do not see you on camera. I'm not sure if you can hear us.
I think he can hear Prime Minister.
Shamsuddin, if you can hear me, let me know. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Your mic is open. I just don't want to add you to the stage while we cannot see you. All right. So we cannot see Shamsuddin as of yet. And so we'll just give him a few minutes to get that together. We know, and we're in the electrified age. So amazing, Sheikh, that the Prophet talked about the electrified age. He said they are running through this race with no conception of where they're going or what their end might be.
Islam.
This electrified age, that we are in. And the Prophet spoke about this age long before we knew anything about it or it was coming. And so we know that in this age, Sham's always, because he's a producer of shows, they shouldn't have this technical difficulty and that technical difficulty. But even some of the mainstream shows like the Don Lenham show, Roland Martin, all of them seem to have some type of technical difficulties in this electrified age. So it's like something that seems like that is something that's just going to happen in this era that we're in when we're learning to use these electrical devices. And so we're going to give Shamsuddin a few minutes to come. Well, I'm just not sure because I did see him a moment ago on the screen, and I'm just not sure. Sheik, did you want to check with him and see, does he know that he's not on the screen?
Yes.
Because we don't want the audience just kept waiting. So we do appreciate your patience in this. We have several different people on this show tonight, and I'm just excited to be, excited to have them here. And I know the National Grand Sheikh said he would try to chime in if he could, but he was at work. So we want to make sure that, we do have time to allow others to speak today through the chat, of course, if they desire to do that. All right. So we want to make sure that we do that. Okay. And I'm not sure, I always say this and you all can see it in the chat. I'm not sure why people would come to your show if they don't like you or want to hear what you have to say and insult you and put stuff in the chat about you when you just don't have to show up. Just don't come to the broadcast. That's just that clear and simple. Do not come to the broadcast if you don't like it, but to come to someone's show and purposely try to insult them or whatever is causing confusion. And so you should not want to cause confusion to do that. All right, so while we're waiting on Shamsuddin to go ahead and do the Al-Fatiha, and I'm just not sure of what's going on. Sheikh, did he say what's going on?
No, I think he's getting the gavel now, but he had I think the phone was open, so I think he
Did
heard
you
you.
talk to him though personally?
No, he's not there. He's not out in the car. I didn't see him.
Okay.
He's not in.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and move forward, and we'll move forward. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. He was up and then he's not there. I'm not sure. So we'll go ahead and so we know that Sheikh Bilal. So we'll go ahead and do our Moorish American prayer. We were gonna do the
Islam.
Al-Fatiha first, but we'll have you go ahead and do the Moorish American prayer. And then
Islam.
I did write it for you how it's rewritten. So if you look on I did rewrite it because I wanted to make sure that if you look on page 3,
Okay.
after the English translation of the Al-Fatiha,
Yes.
you'll see that it says the Moorish American prayer. Islam Sheikh, I'm going to let you go ahead. And everyone, you can stand with 5 fingers on the left and 2 on the right. Or if you're sitting, with 5 fingers on the left, 2 on the right. And go ahead and recite the Moorish American prayer with the Sheikh. All right, Sheikh, you're on the mic.
Islam.
Islamism.
The Moorish American prayer. Allah, the creator of the universe, the creator of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day. Through Allah's holy prophet, Durriyyah, Ameen. Islamism.
Islam Sheikh. All right, we're going to add Shamsuddin to the stage at this time. Shamsuddin, we're glad that you were able to get on here. We're going to go ahead and let you do the Al Fatiha.
Islam.
Coming in a
All
little.
right.
There you
Uh-huh.
are. Islam.
Everyone see and hear me?
Islam.
Yes, I think you might be having some distortion though,
All right.
but go ahead.
Did you want me to try to come back on?
No, go ahead because we've been waiting for a while and I don't want the audience to keep waiting. We need to move forward with the program. So go ahead.
All right, so you want me to do the Al-Fatiha?
Yes, please.
All right. Give me one moment.
The English translation should be on page
Did
3.
you want the English or Arab?
I would like both if we could
All
get
right.
it.
Okay, I'll try my best. Islam. In the name of Allah, in the name of God Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, praise be to God Allah, Lord of all worlds, the most gracious, the most merciful, master of the day of judgment. You alone we worship. You alone we ask for help. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those you have acknowledged, not of those who have incurred your anger, nor of those who have gone astray. Amen.
Amen.
Were you going to do the Arabic translation too, or will that be it?
Oh, I'll give it an attempt. Give me a moment.
That will be on page 2. Number 2 on page 2.
I got you. It's been a while, so give me some grace. Bismi Allah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, Ihdinas siratal mustaqim, Siratal alaihim Aramata Aradihim Karali Magratubi Asalaihim Walatoli. Amin.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
It's
Amen.
been a while.
Right. Amen. Shukran. So we really appreciate that. At this time, we're going to have, Bilal did the Moorish American prayer. I'm going to do the Moorish ancient prayer. And I know I met a lot of Moorish who said, I've never heard of the Moorish ancient prayer. And so, we can, if you email us at Real Moorish Talk, if you email us at Real Moorish Talk, that's our email, Real Moorish Talk, there at yahoo.com. If you email us at Real Moorish Talk at yahoo.com, we can certainly make sure. Let's try to see if I can bring everybody back on the screen. But if you do that at Real Morse Talk, we can most certainly make sure that you get a copy of it. Since because we do have it where you can have a copy of it as well. All right. All right. So I'm going to read the Moorish ancient prayer. Almighty creator of the universe, Allah, we ask you to bind our hearts and minds together as I did in ancient times. This I ask of Allah. Amen. And
Amen.
I mean, yes, in modern days, we had a sister named Sister Mary, and her husband was Lee Majors Bey, and he was real Elder Mo. I mean, they were there with the founder. There was the reincarnated prophet, and every time she got on the floor, she would do the Moorish ancient prayer. And being a young sister, so impressed with the amount of information that they had, I tried to take in as much knowledge and wisdom as I could. So I never forgot that ancient prayer. And it's just very simple, right? It's just asking, Allah to bind our hearts and minds together as I did in ancient times. And we know we're so separated today that we need that connection. We need that bind together.
Yes,
So I'm,
Lord.
I'm just so excited. Now, at this time, we're going to give the mic to Sheikh Bilal. He's going to come from our Circle 7 Quran, and he's going to read the death and burial of Elizabeth in Zone Egypt. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and light our candles. We're going to go ahead and light our candles so that we can have them lit during that time. All right. And then Shamsuddin, because he's producer, he's going to step away from the camera at this time because he's going to do our candles for us. And so we're going to be able to have our candles lit. So just give him a moment to get to us, Shamsuddin. I'm relieving you off the mic so you can get these candles lit. When you play different roles in, creating information or creating, work, it's like a movie producer behind a movie camera, right? They're in the movie and then they're out of the movie because they have parts to act on and parts that they have to do. So Shamsuddin is playing his parts today. He really stepped in today to help us out with this whole podcast. So please give my son much honor for doing that today. So he's going to come in and light our candles, and then the Sheik is going to go ahead and read. So Sheik Bilal, he's going to come in and probably light your candle first. Do you have your candle?
Yes.
If you all right, wonderful. All right, and so listen, like I said, you all can light your candles with us. This is a candlelight visual. They always giving visuals all the time for people, and this candlelight visual started not with just me, but it started years and years ago. And I guess I don't know if I started the actual candlelight, but the temple that I was at, at the time, the temple we was at, we always did the light visual. We turned the light off for 7 minutes, and we did the meditation and prayer in honor of the prophet. And so we just did our own, virtual way of doing it now, which is actually being here. And so I'm going to go ahead. I have to turn this fan off of me so I can light my candle because the fan is going to, so I'm going to go ahead and I don't know if Shamsuddin is with you or not. Did he give you something to light your candle with?
Yes, I have my candle lit.
Oh, okay, good. All right, wonderful. Okay, so let's hold it up. I'm going to light my candle and you all can light your candles with us. All right, if you can see my candle, I want you to see my candle lit. See, make sure I get it in the camera. I have a candle stand. Isn't that gorgeous? And so our candles are lit. And so Sheikh Bilal is going to start now with us, and he's going to read the death and burial of Elizabeth in Zone Egypt as we have our candles lit in honor of our holy and divine prophet. Go ahead.
Okay.
Have your Quran.
One second. This chapter 4.
Yes, chapter 4.
It's not in here.
Chapter 4 is not in that Quran?
No.
It's in Roman numerals.
Okay. Right. No, it's not. This is no. Wait a minute. Give me 1 second, Prime Minister.
Give me one. I can get you mine, Sheikh Bilal. Give me 1 second.
All right, chapter 4.
Right.
I don't know why it's not in that Quran. Where does that Quran start?
At page 9.
So when you first open it up, what do you see on it?
I got it.
Okay.
No.
Right, it's in there, yes.
No. Okay. Islam. Reading from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Page 8. Chapter 4. Death and Burial of Elizabeth. Matheno's Lessons. The Ministry of Death. When John was 12 years old, his mother died, and neighbors laid her body in a tomb among her kindreds in the Hebron burying ground and near to Zachariah's tomb. And John was deeply grieved. He wept. Matheno said, "It is not well to weep because of death. Death is no enemy of man. It is a friend who, when the work of life is done, just cuts the cord that binds the human boat to earth that it may sail on smoother seas. No language can describe a mother's worth, and yours was tried and true. But she was not called hence until her tasks were done. The cause of death are always for the best, for we are solving problems there as well as here. And one is sure to find himself where he can solve his problems best. It is but selflessness that makes one wish to call again to earth departed souls. Then let your mother rest in peace. Just let her noble life be strength and inspiration unto you. A crisis in your life has come, and you must have a clear conception of the work that you are called to do. Islam, and that's 1 through 8, chapter 4, Death and Burial of Elizabeth, Mazzino's Lessons, the Ministry of Death. I will keep going.
Break it down, Sheik. Break it down.
All right,
Where's Sean?
he's out the car. Islam. A crisis in your 9.
No.
Break demonstrated.
Break down 1 through 8.
Okay,
We wanna
Islam.
read from 1 through 8.
Islam. This lesson here, lesson 4. I was, when I used to read this lesson, I used to read this lesson over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Because when I joined the Moorish Children of America, they made us memorize. They encouraged us to memorize as much as we could. And I memorized about 10 chapters. But this chapter, when I examine the chapter, I always examine why, what perspective that the master Mazzino was trying to teach John. And what I got from this lesson, what I got from this chapter, is that it was no such thing as we live and we die and that's it. It was something else. Whether we understood it or not. So reincarnation, resurrection, resuscitation, all of those things came to my mind, right? Space, time, but in the thought of Jesus, I was thinking of character building, because this is what is going on, because these Jesus and John both was being prepared for a mission, right? And they both was being trained to teach something that wasn't being taught. And they was both teaching it to the same people that they came from, right? And they had to be teaching something different than what the people already had, and but here's the thing, because when people talk about religion, right? People say, religion, dogma, this is that, right? So so when I look at that concept, I say religion. When we look at that, the prophet came to us, giving us things, according to what we understood, and in 1910, 1800, 1910, 1920s, 1930s, we either had a Christianized mind, or 90% of us was basically illiterate. We were, So Noble Ali taught us in the language that we understood. That's the only way you're going to get something. That's the only way people going to get something. When you go to the people, the prophet taught on the streets, on the corners, in the back alleys, in the dens. The prophet taught like that. He went in the byways and the highways and taught this Islamism. He He gave the people what they in the sense that what they understood, right? And because I say this because a lot of things are lot of things in today's time, you know, people have a misunderstanding, right? You know, we always been spiritual, I mean, we always called it by various names according to the times. The prophet told us that when we this is the electrified age. We just leaving the age of Aquarius. So the prophet telling this electrified age, meaning that our thoughts and our mind is going to be at a more higher level. That's what that means. And this is what the prophet came to us telling us. He telling prophetic that this is what's happening. This is what's going to take place, for y'all from the days on to coming. But the records say that in order to have love, purity must come on board first. Because love ain't going to dwell in the unclean space. So this is what the lesson with this lesson right here, John Massino is teaching John that purity got to come on board first to set the plate. And this is coming with a mind. This is coming with Noble Drew Ali teaching us. He teaching us. He Europeanizing us, because that's what our mindset is all put in all the things that we know and we understand is given it to us by the Europeans, and that's what the Noble Drew Ali came. He's trying to eradicate our frame of mind because it's corrupted. John the Baptist was purity. He had to come on board first. What? To set the way for love. Right? Purity is the virtue of love. You got to get the purity first, or you can't bring love on board.
Islam, Sheikh, Islam, Shukran. Shukran for that demonstration and of breaking it down so that we understand what the prophet is talking about. He's telling us that it's not good to weep because of death. Even though we know it's a part of life, that it's not good to weep and make yourself sick because you still have so much work left to do. So there's nothing we can do to control death. When death comes upon us, there's nothing we can do to stop it. But we just acknowledge it, honor the work that our parents have done. That's part of what it is with the work that they've done, and from that we can move forward. And so shukran for that. At this time, Shamsuddin is trying to connect to do the creation and fall of man. And then Grand Sheik is going to call in and have a few words with us. He's at work and let me know that he wanted to come in and share some words. He's going to be on voice, but he's going to come in and share some words with us. And so we're going to get the creation and fall of man read, and then we'll bring the Grand Sheik in because he's really busy. And after that, then we will move forward with our program. So thank you, everyone, for being so patient with us. At this time, we're going to bring on Mufti Shamsuddin. He's going to read the creation and fall of man. So please listen carefully and be patient. Islam, Mufti Shamsuddin, you are on the microphone. Islamism.
All right. I'll be reading from chapter 1 of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, the creation and fall of man. Time never was when man was not. If life of man at a time began, a time would come when it would end. The thoughts of Allah cannot be circumscribed. No finite mind can comprehend things infinite. All finite things are subject to change, unto change. All finite things will cease to be because there was a time when they were not. The bodies and the souls of men are finite things, and they will change. Yea, from the finite point of view, the time will come when they will be no more. But man himself is not the body, nor the soul. He is a spirit and a part of Allah. Creative fate gave to man, to spirit man, a soul that he might function on the plane of soul. Gave him a body, a flesh, that he might function on the plane of things made manifest. Why did creative fate give to spirit man a soul that he might function on the plane of soul? Why did creative fate give to soul a body of flesh that he might function on the plane of things that are made manifest? Hear now, ye cherubim, ye seraphim, ye angels, and ye men. Hear now, O protoplast, and earth, and plant, and beast. Hear now, ye creeping things of earth, ye fish that swim, ye birds that fly. Hear now, ye winds that blow, ye thunders, ye lightnings of the sky. Hear now, ye spirits of fire, of water, earth, and air. Hear now, O everything that is, or was, or evermore will be. For wisdom speaks from out of the highest plane of spirit life. Man is the thought of Allah. All thoughts of Allah are infinite. They are not measured up by time. For the things that are concerned with time begin and end. The thoughts of Allah are the everlasting, of the past unto that never-ending days to come. And so is man, the spirit man. But man, like every other thought of Allah, was but a seed that held within itself the potencies of Allah, just as the seed of any plant of earth holds deep within itself the attributes of every part of that a special plant. So spirit man, as seed of Allah, held deep within himself the attributes of every part of Allah. Now seeds are perfect, ye as perfect as the source from which they come. But they are not unfolded into life made manifest. The child is as perfect as the mother is. So man, the seed, must be deeply planted in a soil that he might grow. Unfold, as does the bud unfold to show the flower. The human seed that came forth from the heart of Allah was full ordained to be the Lord of the plane of soul and of the plane of things made manifest. So Allah, the husbandman of everything that is, threw forth his human seed into the soil of soul. It grew up apace, and man became a living soul, and he became the Lord of all the kingdoms of the soul. Hark now, let every creature hear. The plane of the soul is but the ether of the spirit plane vibrating not so fast. And in the slower rhythm of this plane, the essence of light, the essence of life are manifest. The perfumes and the odors, the true sensations, and all of love manifest. And these soul attributes became a body beautiful, a multitude of lessons man must learn upon the plane of soul. And here he tarries many ages until his lessons are all learned. Upon the boundary of the plane of soul, the ether began to vibrate slower still, and then the essence took on a final garb. The perfumes and odors and the true sensations and all the love that were clothed in flesh. And man was clothed in flesh. Perfected man must pass through all the ways of life. And so a carnal was full manifest, a nature that sprang forth from fleshly things. Without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength. And though must he be developed by the exercise of strength. And so this carnal nature soon became a foe that man must fight, that he might be the strength of Allah made manifest. Let every living thing stand still and hear. Man is the Lord of all the plane of manifest, of protoplasm, of mineral, of plant, of beast. But he gave up his birthrights just to gratify his lower self. But man will regain his estate, his heritage, but he must do it in a conflict that cannot be told in words. Yea, he must suffer trials and tribulations, manifold, but let him know that the cherubim and seraphim that rule the stations of the sun and spirit of the Almighty Allah, who rule the solar stars, are his protectors and his guide, and they will lead his victory. And they will lead to victory. Man will be fully saved, redeemed, perfected by the things he suffers on the plane of flesh and on the plane of soul. When man has conquered carnal things, his garb of flesh will then have served its purpose well, and it will fall, will be no more. Then he will stand untrampled on the plane of soul, where he must full complete his victories. Unnumbered foes will stand before them, every one. Thus hope will ever be his beacon light. There is no failure for the human soul, for Allah is leading on and victory is sure. Man cannot die. The spirit man is one with Allah. And while Allah lives, man cannot die. When man has conquered every foe upon the plane of soul, the seed will have full opened out, will have unfolded in the holy breath. The garb of soul will then have served its purpose well, and man will need it nevermore. And it will pass and be no more, and man will then attain unto the blessedness and perfectness at one with Allah. Amen. Oh, you're muted, Prime Minister.
Islam, and shukran for that reading, Shamsuddin. That was great, reading great. And so at this time, the National Grand Sheikh Tariq Bey is on the phone. He wanted to come on and say a few words since he could not be here today. So at this time, we're going to put the Grand Sheikh on the mic. I trust you all can hear him well. Grand Sheikh. Go ahead, Grand Sheikh.
Islam,
Grand Sheikh.
Islam Mufti, Islam Grand Sheikh.
Islamism, Grand Sheikh.
I've been enjoying the show.
Praise Allah.
It put me in the mind of years ago down on Liberty Street when Prime Minister, introduced me to a lot of the active Moors then, and we used to have dinners and stuff. It was a beautiful atmosphere. And I was earlier when she opened up the show, and as you already know from your own experience being around the Prime Minister, you know, like she's like a strict matriarch.
Islam.
And it's good, and it's actually good for all of us. You know
Islam.
that? Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about when she mentioned about character building, so immediately chapter 5 came into my mind. So I'd like to share that with everybody, if it's all right.
Oh, you know it's all right. Go right ahead.
Yeah. And so first I want to rise and give honor to Allah, and also to our most holy and divine prophet, Noble Durriyyah, and to all the wonderful work she's brought unto us. I give honor to the Prime Minister and her maintenance of integrity for helping to uplift fallen humanity for all these years. I give honor and respect to Sheikh Bilal for at the same time doing multiple jobs. And even though he's operating as Sheikh, he's also operating as Mufti too at the same time. And I give honor to Shamsuddin for his dedicated love and duty work for protecting and actually overseeing a lot of things, and also assisting a lot with the electronics and programming and stuff like that. And also for the sincere effort he puts forth in teaching the children. I could say more, but I don't think I need to say more. Those who know you know the work that you all have been doing. And I give you honor for all that.
Islam.
I like to share from the Circle 7 Quran, one of my favorite chapters, and remind me, you know, when you was talking about character building, and chapter 5 deals with that. So I like to read from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of Science, Circle 7, divinely prepared by the Prophet Noble Durriyyah, by the guiding of his Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his Father God Allah. Chapter 5 of the Circle 7 Quran is after the feast, the homeward journey, the missing Jesus, the search for him, and his parents find him in the temple. He goes with them to Nazareth, symbolic meaning of carpenter's tools. The great feast of the Pasch was ended, and the Nazarenes were journeying toward their homes, and they were in Samaria, and Mary said, "Where is my son? No one has seen the boy." And Joseph sought among their kindred who were on their way to Galilee, but they had seen him not. Then Joseph, Mary, and a son of Zebedee returned and sought through all Jerusalem, but could not find him. And Mary asked the guards, had they seen Jesus, a little boy about 12 years old? The guards replied, "Yes, he is in the temple now disputing with the doctors of the law." And they went in and found him as the guards had said. And Mary said, "Why, Jesus, why do you treat your parents thus? Lo, we have sought 2 days for you. We feared that some great harm had overtaken you." And Jesus said, "Do you not know that I must be about my Father's work?" But he went around and pressed the hand of every doctor of the law and said, "I trust that we meet again." And then he went forth with his parents on their way to Nazareth. And when they reached their home, he wrought with Joseph as a carpenter. One day, as he was bringing forth the tools for work, he said, "These tools remind me of the ones we handle in the workshop of the mind, where things are made of thought and where we build up character. We use the square to measure all our lines, to straighten out the crooked places of the way, and make the corners of our conduct square. We use the compass to draw the circles around our passions and desires, to keep them in the bounds of righteousness. We use the axe to cut away the knotty, useless, and ungainly parts and make the character symmetrical. We use the hammer to drive home the truth and pound it in until it is a part of every part. We use the plane to smooth the rough, uneven surface of joint and block and board that go to build the temple of the truth. The chisel, line, the plummet, and the saw all have their uses in the of steps, faith, hope, and love. On it, we climb up to the dome of purity and life. And on the 12-step ladder, we ascend until we reach the pinnacle of that which is spent to build the temple of perfected man. Islam,
Grand Sheik.
it's one of my favorite chapters. And I'm enjoying the show. I was enjoying listening. Thank you for taking the time to recognize and to honor the Prophet Durriyyah for the great work that he's done, but spirit never dies. And we know that. And, as we look at this, so many things that the Prophet has told us, prepared us for these days. And, sometimes you hear people talking and they act surprised. And we knew it long time ago because the Prophet already prepared us. And the things that he laid out, they're taking place as if he talked to us yesterday, aren't they?
Absolutely.
And if anything that we can do that shows any honor and respect is to be appreciative, honorable, and try to do the best we can to help in this great missionary work of helping to uplift all humanity, and to do it with unselfish love. And I thank you all, too, for maintaining through all the, the hiccups that we go through and the pressures of life, to maintain the integrity, and particularly helping to develop the children and exposing the children to a lot of the information left to us by the Prophet, and also helping them to develop to become useful members of society. With that, I say
Islamism, Grand Sheik.
And I'm back to listening to the show. Keep up the good work, Islam.
Shukran for that, Grand Sheik. We really appreciate you, coming on a call with that. I know a lot of people were excited to hear you speak. We know you'll be back to do the other show on the Yaqub experiment and everything, but it was just good that you were able to call in, and I'm sure that others can appreciate hearing your voice. Islamism. So at this time, we're going to read the end of time and the fulfilling of the prophecies. Islamism. And so the last prophet in these days is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem men from their sinful ways and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Isa in those days, to warn and stir up the nation, prepare them to receive the divine creed which to be taught by Isa. In these modern days, there came a forerunner of Isa, who was divinely prepared by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who did teach and warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet, who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam, and his name is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old-time religion and the everlasting gospel to the sons of men, that every nation shall and must worship under their own vine and fig tree, and return to their own and be one with their creator, God Allah. The Moorish Temple of America is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter, the Prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc., that the world may hear and know the truth, that among the descendants of Africa, there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of men under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We, as a clean and pure nation descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation, while we, the Moorish Americans, are returned to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. The covenant of the great God Allah. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earth land, which God Allah hath given thee. Come, all ye Asians of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you are not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers and foremothers' ancient and divine creed, that you will learn to love instead of hate. We are trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come and link yourself to the families of nations. We honor all true and divine prophets.
Islam.
Islamism, more
Islam.
Islamism. And so one of the things that we was hoping that a lot of people would want to come and be interested in what we're doing today, because our prophet is not honored like he should be. I hear on the television, some people might mention his name or whatever, but they mention a whole lot of other people because our prophet is not respected like he should be. He should be honored and respected. And if you would like to, excuse me, have put something in the chat that you would like for us to read, that you would like to say about the Prophet Noble Jolly, you can do it at this time, and we'll bring your chat up on the screen, and we will read it and chat back and forth with you on what you would like to have us do. At this time, we're going to go ahead and have Sheep Bilal is going to read the voice of the Prophet. And if you have a Moorish literature, it's going to be on, well, the Moorish literature that we have, it'll be pages 12 and 13. All right, Sheik, you are back on the mic.
Islam for that Prime Minister. Also, the renowned, the scholar that you was talking about was Dr. Earl Henderson, who was speaking about the Prophet.
All right, shukran for that, yes.
Okay. The voice of the Prophet. If you have race pride and love your race, join the Moorish Science Temple of America and become a part of this divine movement. Then you will have power to redeem your race, because you will know who you are and your forefathers were. Because where there is unity, there is strength. Together we stand, divided we fall. Come, good people, because I, the prophet, sent to redeem this nation from mental slavery, which you have now, need every one of you who think that your conditions can be better. This is a field open to strong men and women to uplift the nation and take your place in the affairs of men. If the Europeans and other nations are helping me, why not you? It is your problem. The Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish National Divine Movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as in seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you. Islam as complete of the voice of the prophet in the Moorish literature. Yes.
And so Sheik, when it's talking about the voice of the prophet, do you want to break that down to us on what the voice of the prophet, what he's actually saying to us?
Yes, the voice of the prophet tells you the state of mind of the prophet in when he was making a call for us back in that day. He's telling us, because we everything that we had would belong to somebody else. It wasn't our own. The prophet telling us to unite, join this national divine movement so that we can unite, create power, create our national principles in action, unified as one group, you know. And that's what the prophet was telling. He was setting them. He was setting the, you know, the mental state for our people to have while we was changing, you know, as they say, you know, as we was revolutionize our trend of thought, you know, because we had the mindset of dead, which is synonymous with black. You know, that's how we was thinking, you know. And the prophet, that chapter, the voice of the prophet is the call, you know. The prophet was making a call to plea to the lost Asiatics that we can, you know, that we do have a prophet, that we do have a creator, that we do have a cause, you know, and that we do have a creed. And that's what he brought.
Islam, Sheikh, and shukran for that. At this time, I'm going to read memorial services from Prophet Noble Ali. We know Prophet Noble Ali was born on January the 8th of 1886, and he passed on July 20th of 1929. And we know that there's a lot of suspicions around his death, but I'm going to read. On January the 8th, 1886, an earthquake announced the manifestation of the returning spirit of a lost prophet, being manifested into human flesh. By this act of love, Allah has distinguished these people, said, a particular favor, as he was given the distinction in other families of men. Surah 10, verse 47. This particular acknowledgement was the time as to come from, do we have a prophet, a messenger? At birth, his name was Timothy Drew. And somebody put in the chat that, you know, his name was never Noble Jolly, was Timothy Drew, and all that. Whoever's put all that, we already know that he was given the slave name of Timothy Drew. I mean, you're not telling us anything we don't know. But the prophet corrected his status just like we need to correct our status. And so if you're trolling in our chat as a European or whoever, or an unconscious Asiatic who just loves Europeans and really hates your own history, that's on you. Denying the truth is something that you will continuously deny. Okay? Noble Ali was the founder and prophet of the Moorish Temple of America, the first mass religious community in the history of America. Islam and the Asiatic nationalist model for the Nation of Islam. Prophet Noble Ali was born Timothy Drew in the state of North Carolina in 1886 and passed on July 20th, 1929. Little is known whether his early childhood or mother and father's true characters, except for what we were told. That both his parents were ex-slaves. He was adopted. Both his parents were ex-slaves. He was adopted by a family of Cherokees, or the son of a Moroccan Muslim father and a Cherokee mother. So what really happened about his birth, we're still not really sure, other than accounts that others have given us in reference to the prophet. Only the account that others have given us is all we do have, right? So, but we know the work that he did for us, but only before the work he came to do, we only can speculate what's told to us. So many different things about his parents. We know, they were given different accounts of things like that. We know Cherokee is not a real tribal nationality. That's something that was given to the Europeans, but to help people identify or where they're saying that his birth, after he was born and he came here as a teen, that he was adopted by people, because we know, according to history, his aunt tried to kill him, for whatever reasons. And he had the burn marks on his face to prove that he had been in a fire, but we still don't know that the actual outcome of all of that. Prophet Noble Ali reported that during his travels, he met with a high priest of Egyptian magic. The priest saw him as a reincarnation of Isa, the Buddha, Muhammad, and other religious prophets. The high priest trained Prophet Noble Ali in mysticism and gave him a lost section of the Quran. This text became known as the Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of America, which is not to be confused about the Universal Quran. It is also known as the Circle 7 Quran, or the Book of the Seven Seals. Prophet Noble Drew and his followers taught the unconscious people who were using the terms Negro, Black, Afro-American, and colored coon, shine, jigaboos. He taught Ajax the correct term for all dark or dark olive complected people. He taught all pale people were Europeans and all dark olive complected people were Asiatics. And he taught all Asiatics that they should proclaim their free national status, which include returning the slave terms and names back to the European nations. And this is something that a lot of Moors still fight us about. So they'll take on, that the prophet told you that you're not Negro, Black, and colored. They will take on the Moorish names, identities, Bay, Ali, and Il. Some try to use Day and Al, which is not what the prophet ever gave. But some people just don't want to do what the prophet said do. They want to start their own thing instead of just saying, you know what, I don't really care about I like some of what the prophet said, but not all of it. So I just want to start my own thing. Instead of lying on the prophet and stealing, start your own. I mean, that's what you need to do if you don't want to do what the prophet said do. In 1913, Prophet Noble Drew, announced the Canaanite temple in Newark, New Jersey. He left the city after awakening people with the truth about nationality, origin, and race. Prophet Noble Drew and his followers migrated while planting congregations in Philadelphia, Camden, New Jersey, Washington, D.C., and Detroit, Michigan. Finally, Prophet Noble Drew settled in Chicago, Illinois, which he named the New Mecca, stating that we needed to be aware. He needed to be where the most downtrodden people were in the Midwest, and it was there that the movement took the greatest force. The following year, he officially registered that as Temple Number 9. Prophet Noble Drew prepared the Asiatic people to be perceptive of his message of uplifting fallen humanity. Marcus Garvey was specifically loaded as John the Baptist, who prepared the way for the coming for Prophet Noble Drew at the Moorish Science Temple meetings. Prophet Noble Drew taught Moors to proclaim their decent nature and ancient Moabites of Northwest Africa. The Islam is the teaching of our ancient birthright and earthly salvation and earthly and divine salvation. Prophet Noble Drew taught the true nature and being withheld from them. In the traditions he founded men in the membership in the temple, he told them to wear their number 1 headdress, which are feathers, and the women should cover their head, which is number 2, in turbans. He was born Timothy Drew, as we all know, and his mother, according to some, said that he was from the land of Canaan. This is why he decided to teach. This is why he decided to go ahead and teach and start the Canaanite temple, because he thought that would be a beginning for us, the Canaanite temple. I do apologize for that, the Canaanite temple. But later, Prophet Noble Drew realized that Canaanite was confusion and not the real thing, because the people were the ancient Moabites. His earliest followers were told that he was an orphan for most of his child and raised by the Aboriginal nation of the Cherokee tribe. Later, he ran away from home. One night, while walking on the road, he heard a voice which stated, "Where thou goest, I goeth." After several years as a merchant seaman, he established the Canaanite Temple, the first Moorish American community in Newark, New Jersey, in 1913. In the 1920s, he renamed the community several times as the Moorish Temple of Science, then the Moorish Science Temple of America, then the Moorish Science Temple of America, the National and Divine Movement. He founded new temples in several Midwestern and Southern states. The Moorish American community grew approximately over 30,000 members, was the largest Islamic community in the United States before the ancestry of the Nation of Islam that came about in the 1950s. Inspired by the political and cultural creativity of Marcus Garvey's Universal Negro Improvement Association and the Great Migration of Asiatic Southerners to Northwest cities, Prophet Noble Drew set up his headquarters in Chicago in 1923, and he claimed to be the second prophet of Islam. The Moorish Americans wore turbans and feathers. They replaced their surnames from slavery with Il, Bey, or Ali. The Prophet instructed the Moors for headquarters to create their own nationality cards and flags. They were to call themselves olive skinned Asiatics, descendants of Morocco, instead of Negroes, placed, or colored people. Due to the indoctrination of Christianity placed upon the Moors during the time of slavery, Prophet Durriyyah Bey wrote the sacred text in 1927, the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, also known as the Book of the Seven Seals, to teach the followers of pre-slavery religion of Islam, nationality, and genealogy. To support his case for a Moorish American identity, he emphasized two important points. First, being called Black in America, Native Americans or colored people, and Negroes were really Asiatics, the descendants of Isa, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. And second, the destiny of the Western civilization was linked to the rise of the Asiatic nations, Asians, Africans, Native Americans, and those calling themselves African Americans. These important facts are essential in defining yourself by nationality and birthrights. That every nation of people on earth is identified by their birthright. When you denounce the true identity, you are classed as undesirables, and the citizens can treat you any way they desire. As proof of this, we can see this taking place in this world today. Prophet Durriyyah Bey was born in the era of time in regards of race relations and others that had endured about 400 years of slavery and just 20 years before his birth, and they were set free. The new era is called up from slavery. In this growing years, he began to travel. He often came face to face with violations of human rights, misclassifications as racism. Although the Asiatics of America or people were lawfully free, they were classified as inferior beings, subject to all mistreatments and abuses that the Europeans cared to put upon them. They were not even considered second-class citizens. In this new era, up from slavery, his people were given a granted privilege under the principles of the 14th and 15th Amendments. Now, in the Union states, where they entitled the Equal Protection Laws, as every state had them enter the Union and enter the principles of freedom, European males 21 and over, they created the body of politics that governed the people of this land. These are the ones who had created the educational, financial, spiritual, and political institutions, changing the status of the new free slaves from being a slave of an individual to the ward of the federal government, still having no rights as citizens. So you were still being considered wards of the state. In the growing years of Prophet Durriyyah Bey, he discovered many things. Amongst them, there were no religious creed taught to them, but would uplift them spiritually, mentally, and economically from their present state of being a beggar people. In 1913, Prophet Durriyyah Bey formed the K9 Temple in New Jersey and forced to flee the town from his views on race. Prophet Durriyyah and his followers settled in Philadelphia, New York, Philadelphia, D.C., Detroit, and New Jersey, and Chicago. Ostentatiously, because the Midwest was closer to Islam, the following year he officially registered, or we did that. Prophet Durriyyah Bey traveled to see President Calvin Coolidge. He said at the challenge of him knowing the power and authority, Prophet Durriyyah Bey had raised his right hand and lit up the whole room. Prophet Durriyyah Bey spoke to President Calvin Coolidge about divine rights, to call his people and teach them the principles of their foremothers and forefathers, which is the Islamic faith. Prophet Durriyyah Bey asked for the name nationality, which had been stripped away 146 years prior. Prophet Durriyyah Bey asked Calvin Coolidge, "Why don't you teach my people who they are?" And his reply was, "Are you talking about the Negroes?" And Prophet Durriyyah Bey replied, "They are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians. They are descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited northwest and southwestern shores of Africa. I came for the flag of our ancient fathers." President Calvin Coolidge stated, "It is not yet your time." Prophet Durriyyah Bey answered, "I have been appointed in due time by Allah, the great God of the universe." This is the conversation that they had. One of the president's counselors asked, "What kind of flag is yours?" Prophet Noble Jolly said, "You have it hidden in your vault." They went to the vault room. They began to bring all kinds of modern day flags. Prophet Noble Jolly stated, "You know it is much older than that." They began to dig deeper and came up with a red flag and said, "This is the Moroccan flag." And the prophet stated, "I am here for the Moorish flag, that which you call a cherry tree." They dusted off an old flag that was red with no five-pointed green star in the center. The prophet stated, "Put our five-pointed green star back in the center, and I will be back." President Coolidge and council stared in amazement at the exactness of the holy prophet. President Coolidge then said, As long as I keep my schools and churches open, you will not get 10 to follow you." He stated, "We have had them so long that they will not follow anyone else, and to tell them anything different would be like putting pants on a mule." President Calvin Coolidge then stated, "If you get more than 10 to follow you, I will back you up with my Army and Navy." Of course, this statement never took place. As we know, one of these officials do not hold truth. Look what they did to our Shemanite sisters and brothers. So we know that they told the prophet if he would get 10 to follow, that he would back us up with the Army and Navy of who we were. But we know that they've been lying the whole time. That's what they're afraid of today, is because the prophet, what he said is true, and more than 10 did start following him. But they didn't decide to back us up. If anything, they tried to hurt us, kill us, and murder us in the street. The prophet stated, "The sheep knows the shepherd call, and my voice they will follow." Islam was, and so that's so powerful, because we were not there just to have that historical event of what took place when they went down there with the prophet. This came from the people who actually went down there with the prophet.
Islam.
After a while, he left and returned to his people. For 12 years, Prophet Noble Jolly became a hard-working prophet of Allah. He carried on the trust placed in him, faced with the great odds. The coming of the prophet Drew Ali came at a time when members of his race began to understand the God degree. The great God Allah set him a ruler of the land. Surah 2, verse 30. The holy prophet Noble Jolly that it was a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and claim names and principles that delude them to mental slavery. They were continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives a life. First, Prophet Noble Jolly had to explain to the unconscious that what Islam was. He said it clearly. Islam was a very simple faith. Islam required that we recognize our duty, our divine obligation and duty towards God Allah, our creator, and to Allah's fellow creatures. Islam teaches the supreme duty of living at peace with one's surroundings. Islam is the religion of peace. Islamism. The skepticism and the death of the Prophet Noble Jolly. In the late 1920s, it was estimated that Moorish Temple had reached for more than 15 to 17,000 members. And at that time, there were 17 temples, despite scrutiny and possible harassment by the Chicago PD. Following a conflict over funds, the business manager of the Chicago Temple, which we talked about on Real Moorish Talk, Durriyyah Bey, sprinted off, declaring himself Grand Sheikh and taking a number of members with him. On March 15, 1929, Durriyyah Bey was stabbed to death at the Unity Mosque, 3640 Indiana Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. Although out of town at the time, the prophet Drew Ali was arrested as an instigator along with other members of the community. Anything to try to take our prophet away. See, once he made that plea and went to get our flag, then they just made his time numbered. They were gonna make sure they eliminated the man who brought us freedom. Because listen, they fought so hard with the Missouri Compromise. They wanted to keep us properly. We were never supposed to wake up again, never supposed to be in existence again. And because we were, this is what they did. They wanted to get rid of him. Okay. So they arrested him as an instigator. He wasn't even in town. So you know that was charges that they made up. He was nowhere in town. Shortly after his release, Prophet Noble Drew passed from at his home in Chicago, Illinois on July 20th, 1929 at 9:50 p.m. Okay, excuse me. He was beat severely by the policy enforcers of the Chicago PD. Prophet Noble Drew was released on bond pending charges of an indictment. At his bedside were Dr. Clarence Payne-Ill, Attorney Harry Payne-Ill, his father-in-law, Brother Foreman Bey, and the prophet's wife at that time, Sister Mary Drew Ali. According to the death certificate filed by Payne-Ill, the cause of death was tuberculosis, bronchopneumonia. But we know that it was stated that the prophet was beaten severely by the police and he died from internal injuries. We know that. We know that that was made up. He was so afraid to put the truth on the death certificate. This is the fear they put in you, that he literally lied and said that the prophet died from bronchopneumonia. The prophet was a master. He created herbs and healed others. He would not have died from bronchopneumonia. However, one more told the Chicago Defender the prophet was not ill. His work was done, and he lay his head upon the lap of one of his followers and passed out. You know, because we know what happened. The body was placed at Frank Edwards Undertaking Parlor at 4136 Michigan Avenue. Funeral services were held on Friday, July 25th of 1929 at 1:30 p.m. in the Pythian Temple Building, 37th Place in State Street. Representatives from offices all over the United States attended the prophet's last rites. The body was finally laid to rest in Burr Oak Cemetery, Acacia Lawn, Lot 44 and Grave 7. Legacy of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The death of Drew Ali brought out a number of candidates who vied to success him. Edward Millie Ill stated that he had been declared Drew Ali's successor by Drew Ali himself, while John Gibbons Ill, who was the chauffeur, declared himself the reincarnated prophet. However, the governors of the Moorish Temple of America declared Charles Kirkman Bey to be the successor of Drew Ali and named him the Grand Advisor. Wallace Fard Muhammad, the founder of the Nation of Islam, was previously a prominent member of the Moorish Temple of America, where he was known as David Ford Ill. And being a European, he tried to start a Moorish temple, and the Moors was not having it. After Drew Ali's death, he claimed to be the prophet reincarnated. When his leadership was largely rejected, he broke away from the Moorish Temple of America and moved to Detroit and founded the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam leaders deny any historical connection to the Moorish Temple of America, but we know that's an untruth. Until February 26th of 2014, when Louis Farrakhan acknowledged Prophet Noble Drew Ali's contribution to the Nation of Islam. Islamism, Moors. Y'all got to recognize that we the one reason y'all the Nation of Islam. In 1986, the Moroccan ambassador to the United States officially recognized the Moorish Temple Islamic lineage to Morocco through Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Okay, and that's all historical information, Moors. You can all look it up. Have no reason to lie to you. Can all look it up. Okay, all can look it up. And so we see how important the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is historically. We see historically how important that he is. I want to read a poem that I wrote, and then we're going to open up the floor to the Sheikh and Mufti, and then we'll take anyone that might want to say something. We'll put it across the screen about this day. This is the day of we're talking about our prophet, a memorization of our prophet, which will be July 20th officially, but we're doing it here on Real Moorish Talk. The man known as Prophet Noble Drew Ali, this is something that I wrote, oh my goodness, so many years ago. Out of all the pain and suffering of the children from the ancient Moabite nations came a man who heard our plea. The man whom I chose to call the father of everything to me. Elohim, great spirits of all seven creations that be, Send out the universal synergy of redemption for myself, my race, the nations and generations that come. Great mothers, fathers, great spirits, I plead to thee, give me back what belongs to me. Hear me, Mother Allah, hear my plea. Give me back all that is for me. My name, my nationality, birthright, and religion that was stolen away from me.
Islam.
And here he came to me and all the tribes of the Moors that used to be free. He stood his ground and loosened the keys that opened the seals of the hidden secrets that kept us back from being free. So now I can stand here and proclaim who I am. I am free. And I can shout his name loud. It is Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Islam.
Islam.
Good job, Prime Minister.
Shukran, shukran. And that's how I feel about Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And Taj knows my life. Taj knows my life. Sheikh Bilal knows my life. Mufti Shamsuddin knows my life. They know that I love the Prophet Noble Drew Ali's teachings. Now,
24/7.
do I agree with every single thing the Prophet did? No one agrees with every single thing the Prophet did. No one agrees with everything. But what I do not disagree with him is who we are and our legacy and what he came here to do for us. So it's okay in this modern era time, and even for me, it would have always been all right to state that you don't agree with everything someone has to say. But the Prophet has improved. No one can prove him wrong about anything that he said or bought. There's nowhere to prove him wrong. And so that's the thing. People can talk a lot.
Evidence attack.
That's right, Sheik. They run their mouth, but they have not been able to disprove nothing that came from Prophet Noble Drew Ali, including our lineage. Even Europeans have to acknowledge who we are. The Prophet was not wrong on what he said. I'm going to go to the chat real quick, Sheik, before I go back to you. So let's see. I hope it was, let me see. I hope it was Grand Sheik Taj Tariq Bey, and that pushed your Moorish tribes out to reach the truth. I'm going to put it up on the screen just so I can see what you're saying. I hope it was Grand Sheik Taj Tariq Bey and Dr. G that pushed you Moorish tribes out to teach truth revealed to the people about time. We're about 100 years late. Well, what I want to say, that's good that you put that out today, but Dr. Naila and Taj had nothing to do with who I am. I was born and raised in Moorish science, and I introduced Taj to Moorish science, and he introduced Naila. So my beginning of Moorish science doesn't begin with the Grand Sheik or Naila, either one of them, just to make that clear. So I'm not sure if it's for all of us, but I just want to make that clear. James Cal 1611. That I'm not new to Moorish science at all. All right, shukran for that. Definitely not due to Moorish science. It's my lineage. It's my heritage. Okay. It says, so we just going to go in and read some of the things. Okay. Show. Okay. Supreme love, Muslim, highest honor to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Islam, shukran. Yes. High honor to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Islam, study more.
All right, Islam. Wa alaikum assalam. And that is from Sheikh Madudi, Brother Madudi. Islam, Brother Madudi.
Islam.
Right. Islam. Okay. And let's see, anyone want to say something to the Prophet? The famous full body of the Prophet is still striking if you stare. Okay. I'm trying to see what they're saying. The famous full body photo of the Prophet is still striking if you stare.
Islam.
Islam. And the Prophet is also in the Great Blacks and Wax Museum. If you've never been there, please do. All right. Let's see. Celestial jurisdiction Islam. Islamism. Let's see. There is a commonly shown. Let's see. Mother, is this show about the Prophet? Mother, is this show about the Prophet? It is about the Prophet. It is. That's what we were reading about. And I'm not sure what time you came in, but it was about the Prophet. We were giving honor to the Prophet. We were reading his material and, and speaking our information. So I'm trusting that you did get something from it. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. This came from Lee Bay 2334. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. All right. Shukran, we appreciate that. All right. Let's see. We're trying to find anyone want to say anything in words. Are they still lying living in Black History Month housing complex stacked over? So let's see what that says. Are they living in a Black History Month housing complex stacked on over one another and just waiting to be subjugated again? Indeed, they are. I'm not sure. Someone put up there Os Dora 7794 with a monkey. I'm not sure what you are saying, but we put it on the screen anyway. All right, you're saying our ancestors deserved everything they got, which I'm not sure who you are. All right, Islam, Grand Sheikh Tajri Bey is coming on board more to share words of wisdom about the love and importance of Prophet Noble Ali Islam. Yes, the Grand Sheikh did come on and gave some words. He wanted to be here, but he wasn't able to be. But we appreciate him coming on. He was special as a child. They came, bear witness. All right, shoot. And as Brother Troy said, he was special as a child. They bear witness. Love this chapter. All right, shukran, shukran. All right, let's see. Divine warning by the prophet. Okay, so let's see. You wanted to talk about a divine warning by the prophet of the nations is more important, more than ever. Yes, it is, Mo. Yes, it is. That's from truth_0013.
Islam, more.
Islam. Okay, it says, I hope the Grand Sheikh Taj and that push you. Oh no, I already did that. That was definitely okay. The national side of the movement is very important. Here we go. Someone saying the national side of the movement is very important. That would solve all the discussion about the three dead badges of law. Okay. All right. All right. The prophet wasn't kissing these devils. No, the prophet was not. The prophet was not kissing these devils. No, he was not. Let's see. Sheikh Bilal, carefully note our ancestors have spiritual law leading their civic actions because without divine principles, humanity was always so our people out. We're naturally, spiritually, peace. All right, let's see. All right, I would trust more you all will give some kind of honor to the prophet. Okay, let me see. Adept Moore 7. Let's see what you have to say. Islam supreme honor to the Prophet Noble Ali. His teachings helped me to transform and meet my higher self. Forever grateful for our Prophet. I know that's right, Mo, and so are we. Forever grateful for the Prophet. Islam shukran. All right, well, it doesn't seem like you all had a lot to say, today, which we really trusted that you all had a lot more to say about the Prophet because you have to think about it. If it wasn't for him, I would not know you. You wouldn't know me. We wouldn't have this Real Morse talk. We wouldn't have a discussion or anything to talk about more. So we have to make sure that we're honoring our holy and divine prophet, and we want to take the time to do this. And we know the numbers are probably, we would love for you all to push this and get the numbers high like they were. But we know, you don't push things that you're not really, curious about. But the thing is, you have to know about the prophet. Push this and you have to know about the prophet. So we're going to go ahead and pull up. Before we leave the show, we're going to go ahead and pull up our online schooling for Moorish Children. If you'd like to donate to online schooling for Moorish Children, you can go to Cash App and go to Donate Online Schooling MC. If you'd like to donate to the Daughters of Drew Ali, you can go to, also this is Cash App, the Daughters of Drew Ali at Cash App, and send us a donation about our school. We want to talk to you more about the school. Our enrollment is open now. All right. And if you also want to donate, you see that donate button there. You can donate right there. It says More Science with GSKS.com. You can purchase our books. We have the Holy Quran, the Moorish literature that we read from, Divine Constitution and Bylaws, and all of that. You can go to circle7publishing.com. And then again, the Daughters of Drew Ali. And also remember your donation. You go to Moorish Science with GSKS Durriyyah Bey. and just make a donation. We accept all donations more because we're trying to make sure we bring in our children and make sure that some of the parents, we need to sometimes help parents who need assistance and sending their children to our school. So I want to
Islam,
make sure that we do help them, those who cannot afford it. And with
Islam.
your donations, if you do donate, that will help us be able to do that as you know, it will help us be able to do that. All right, Morris. All right. And so I'm going to turn it over to Sheik Bilal if he has any closing remarks for you all. All right. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Sheik Bilal for any closing remarks. You're on, Sheik.
Islam. Thanks, Prime Minister. Gratitude. Again, like I say, if it wasn't for the Prophet, we wouldn't know who we were, who we are, where we came from, our destiny, identity. Identity is so important. And it's so important that, the powers that be try to make us, think that it's not, but it is, you know. And one of the striking things that in researching identity, again, and I always, put this thought on board. When I read the Universal Quran, and the Prophet Muhammad was explaining in it the conversation that the Creator was having with the angels. Because it was discussion about why man was going to be created and to manifest in with the intelligence of the angels, with the intelligence of the Elohims, Allah, questioned them and said that, that the importance of man, the ability of spiritual man, and the Creator asked the angels to explain and identify the nature of creation, the nature of things. And that simple answer, that simple question was not able to be answered. And that just that thought and that conversation put me on identity, identification, classification, right? And classification, identification is so important because when you identify and you're able to classify, right, it gives you the understanding of what things are, and that's so important because that's what we are. That's what we learned from the Prophet, that we're Moors. And let me say this, Prime Minister, while I'm on here, because most of the people that talks about the Moors from the 1400s on up. But when the Prophet Noble Drew Ali are talking about us, he talking about us from spiritual to the manifestation to the present. He's not talking about us in no 600-700 year period. He's talking about well before the Europeans took over, our various lands all over this world. He's talking about our ancient forefathers, before the recorded history that we always talk about, and when we talk about the Moors being great, the Moors was in decline when y'all talking about the Moors in their grandeur. We was in decline. We did the European scholar stated that he said when you heard the word Moor, it was something great wherever you heard it at all over the world. And it just talk about the legacy. This was almost 2,000 years ago when the European wrote about that. So we just have to get back to who we were. out thinking. You know, we ain't got to go nowhere. We ain't got to which come. We just talk about the prophet say, man is mine, and man is sure to find himself where he can solve his problem best. He talking about in his mind. That's the only place you can solve your problems is in your mind.
It's
We have to understand. We have to get the prophet say we need to learn to love instead of hate, Mo, because all these things that we demonstrate, all these negative things that we pass on, those things we learn from that Roman. Those things we pick up. We had to get these things back. You know, the Prime Minister has showed me that, you know, the prophet say you got to give when you giving back the church in Christianity, you giving back all those things that the Europeans gave us, especially the name. Because the name represents you being belonging to somebody else. When you carrying on English, Irish, all these names that means that you belong to somebody else because they're not your name. And let me be clear. Moorish is Asiatic, not separate from Africa.
That's right, Sheik. Make it plain.
So, because y'all try to put us in a box, you can't put us in a box because for the regular, for the basic understanding, Moorish is African. So stop trying to put us different. You know, wherever groups you coming from, stop that.
Yeah, and Sheik, while you're saying that today, there was a show on, and they were talking. I was watching it, passing the time, and they had some people from Ghana on there who was very deep complected, right? Their hair was straight, but they were very deep complected. I mean, darker than me. And there are brothers and sisters. So that's the thing. You cannot try to separate us from our brothers and sisters because the prophet said we're coming a Rotarian complexion from
Islam
the lightest olive of Asiatic
to the
to the
dark
darkest olive of Asiatic. But we're never known by colors. Colors are man-made. And even if you want to be known as a color would not fit us because black is a brand new word and we're an ancient people. So
Islam.
for your thoughts for that, Sheik. We're going to go. We're a little over time. Shukran for everyone tonight that came on to Real Morse Talk. We want you to try to get those numbers up high again to us, make those numbers reach the sky. And this, we stumbled a little bit in the beginning, but we got through it, with, technical difficulties and things like that. But in this electrified age, it's never too much to try to give honor to our holy and divine prophet, Noble Drawley. I always try to keep him on the forefront of everything because I am grateful. I am so appreciative for Prophet Noble Drawley being in my life that it was in my great grandmother, to my grandmother, to my father, to me, to my children, to my grandchildren. The Prophet Noble
Islam.
Drawley has been a part of our life. Moorish science has been our existence of our history. And for that, I must give honor to that. Morris, we want you to continuously support us on Real Morris Talk. Next week, we'll be on our 26th episode of Real Morris Talk. And so we're real excited to have you join us. I think the Grand Sheik will be here talking about the Yakub experiment. I have to make sure with his schedule, but I believe that he said that he will do the Yakub experiment. His sister kept asking for it to be done. And so we're going to join the Grand Sheik with the Yakub experiment. And you'll have next week, it'll be myself, the National Grand Sheik Tariq Bey, and Sheik Bilal Amin Bey. So until next week, Morris, I want you to take care of yourselves and each other. You have
Islam.
been on Real Morris Talk, episode 25. Salam alaikum, Morris.
Wa alaikum assalam, Prime Minister.